Let me ask you a question. Have y'all ever seen a goat before? I mean, dude, I fucking love goats. And I can't lie, I played with a few goats in my lifetime, including this badass motherfucker right here. You know, as a matter of fact, goat ain't the proper word to call this. This is like a minotaur. Not Super Mario Wonder. That's something of like Greek god of legends that I can't touch up on right now. But Super Mario Bros. 2 is still a goated 2D Mario. A minotaur 2D Mario. Super Mario Bros. 2 is not just one of. It is the most underrated Mario game of all time. I'm just gonna say it. And before anyone's like, well, that's the Virtual Boy, I don't care about the Virtual Boy, okay? Listen, no one give a fuck about that. That thing's pretty much non-existent. The only like life that thing has is in Luigi's Mansion 3, alright? So I don't care about the Virtual Boy Mario game. So when we're actually looking at like the main series that like pretty much kicked off Mario, yeah, Super Mario Bros. 2 isn't really discussed as much as it should be. Because when people look back and think about all the 2D Mario games, they mainly think about the first one. They think about Mario Bros. 3. They praise that game. They also praise Super Mario World. Dude, they even praise the Mario Land games. They praise the Wario Land games. But whenever someone thinks about Super Mario Bros. 2, it's usually just like, it's alright. Alright? It ain't just alright. And listen, I get it. Mario Bros. 3, Mario World, yeah, okay, they're pretty fantastic games. But Mario Bros. 2 is arguably on the same level of being as fantastic as those games. And why do I think that? One word: innovation. Super Mario Bros. 2 innovates on Super Mario Bros. 1 in literally every area. You have more playable characters with different stats. You have all these new enemies, all these brand new mechanics that you didn't see in the first game. Like, this is what a sequel should be. It feels very fresh and different from the first game while retaining some of the core ideas of the first game, like how the platforming was. Oh, by the way, before anyone wants to be a smartass, okay, I get it. This game was based off of Doki Doki Panic. But yeah, we all know the history of it. One of the best videos that ever covered it was from the Irate Gamer, You're the Goat Man. What you guys probably didn't know was that Shigeru Miyamoto not only directed Doki Doki Panic, but he wanted that game from the start to have the DNA of a Mario game. So at its core, this game was always a Mario game. So before anybody wants to say, oh, this game was just a reskin, dude, this game was already a Mario game from the start. So adding actual Mario characters in it after the fact only makes sense. And to be quite honest, I'm glad we got this version over the Japanese version, because this version is way more creative over the Japanese version. I'll give my thoughts on the Japanese version at the end of the video. And before you guys overlook this game even more, let's not forget that Super Mario Bros. 2 brought all the Mario enemies that we all know and love, such as Shy Guy, Sniff It, Spark, the Pokey, the Ninja, the Ba-Bomb. Yeah, oh, y'all's favorite game, Mario 64? You wouldn't have a bomb battlefield without this game. And of course, we got Birdo. Birdo really peaked in Mario 2. And on top of all that, Super Mario Bros. 2 also brings you a lot of original enemies and new bosses. Some of the other enemies in this game is the Tweeter, no, not the Xer, the Tweeter, the different Bezos, the Hoopster, the Trouter, the Porcupo, the Albatos, the Cobra, the Pidgeot, the Panzer, Flurry, and Ostros. And I know the manual got these two motherfuckers mixed up, just, that's weird, I don't know. But one of the best enemies in Mario history is my boy Phanto! Phanto is his creepy curse mask, where if you take one of his keys, he'll like track you down and try to kill you. And if y'all thought that motherfucker Michael Myers was creepy, y'all haven't met Phanto. So yeah, Phanto is like the highlight of Super Mario Bros. 2. The bosses in question are different variants of the Birdos: Mauser, my dude Dry Clyde, my dude Fry Guy, my dude Claw Grip, and my homie Warp. Oh, and yeah, somewhere in the final world you do fight the Mask Gate, and yeah, that motherfucker's pretty cool too. If I had to pick a favorite, I would probably say Tri-Clyde because it looks the most badass, and I like how it shoots all the fireballs and you gotta dodge it. It's pretty cool. I mean, all the bosses have creative attacks, but Tri-Clyde, oh yeah, that's the homie right there. He is so cool. So yeah, with all these awesome enemies, with all these awesome bosses, this game's already a huge improvement over the first Super Mario Bros. Ah, dude, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. As I mentioned previously, this game has added a lot of new playable characters. It ain't just Mario and Luigi, it's Peach and Toad. But here's the thing, all of them play differently. It's not like how in Mario Bros. 1, it's, oh, Luigi is just a fucking reskin, because, you know, they used to like to disrespect my guy Luigi. Like, Luigi actually had his own unique moveset and stats, so did Peach, so did Toad. Mario being the standard choice, he plays just like how he did in Mario Bros. 1. Luigi actually jumps higher and he has a cool little flutter. Peach gets to glide mid-air with her dress. and Toad is pretty much living up to his species. You know, he's on shrooms, he's really fucking fast. And for a game in 1988, that was really cool to have that type of variety. And for a sequel, yeah, that added a lot. And the fact that someone like my goat Luigi can be played as the player 1 character instead of being restricted to player 2 is so fucking awesome. And what did Mario Bros 3 do? What did Mario World do? They follow up by regressing and making Luigi a reskin of Mario, being restricted to player 2. And you're telling me people sleep on Mario 2? Oh, it doesn't end there though. And the core gameplay of this game is just proof that one simple mechanic can go such a long way. So yes, the main mechanic in the original Mario Bros and all the ones following too is that yeah, Mario runs and jumps on enemies and hits blocks and he gets power-ups from blocks, right? That's the core mechanic of Mario. But 2 wanted to spice things up and kind of change the formula. This time the blocks are no more. Instead, you have turnips that you pull out of the ground and throw at enemies. And yeah, you guys would think, well, that's kind of lame, but really? Is it really lame? Dude, you get to pick up these objects from the ground and go, it's so satisfying just to pick up these objects and whip it at someone's face. And in my opinion, it kind of puts an action spin on these games. So there's really no need to get a fire flower and shoot fireballs. Like, these turnips are at your disposal everywhere, and you can get creative with how you want to throw them. You can either throw them directly at an enemy, you can stand on top of a high ledge and throw them at an enemy from above. You can stand right next to 2 enemies and see if you can do collateral damage with it. And instead of jumping on enemies and squashing them, you can actually pick them up and whip them at other enemies. Like, if you really think about it, it's so fun and chaotic. But because it is a Mario game, you still have your cool power-ups. The Starman returns from the previous Mario game, but instead of just finding one in the block, you gotta actually collect these cherry collectibles to unlock it. There's a good amount of cherries scattered throughout the level, but as long as you collect 5 of them, you get to get the Starman. Some may call that a chore. I actually have fun collecting the cherries, and when I get the star, it actually feels rewarding. Mushrooms also return in this game, but instead of making Mario bigger, it actually gives him more health. And in my opinion, this is the one Mario game that actually uses mushrooms in a great way. Because usually, power-ups are locked behind a barrier and you need to get a mushroom before getting a power-up. But in this game, mushroom actually gives you health. And the more mushrooms you get, the more times you can get hit without dying. And I get it, in other Mario games, if you have a power-up, it can take about like 2 hits before you die. But in Super Mario Bros. 2, you can stack more mushrooms to get more hits. And I think that's something Mario games should be doing more often. I think what they should do instead is if you already have a power-up, if you collect the mushroom after that, it should also give you another hit point, like how it does in Mario 2. So yeah, Mario 2 has a really genius way of handling mushrooms. But dude, it doesn't even end there. The way you actually find these mushrooms are actually in an alternate dimension. And the way to get them is you actually have to pluck up a magic potion, but you need to throw it in the correct location to find it. And yeah, I can kind of see how that can be tedious, especially if you're running low on hit points, but you gotta admit, it's a really interesting way of finding them. Because it's like the same thing as the cherries. It kind of serves as like a bonus challenge almost. And just like how you get rewarded a Starman for collecting all the cherries, when you find the mushroom in the alternate dimension, it feels really satisfying to know, damn, like I actually found the right spot this time. And come on, you really gotta appreciate the Mario 1 remix in this area. And dude, on top of that, they added back the Koopa shells, but this time you pluck them from the ground and throw them at enemies, and they work the same. They slide across the ground and slide into enemies and kill them. And they even brought back the POW block from the Mario Bros. Arcade game, and it works the exact same. When you hit it, it causes an earthquake and kills nearby enemies. So if you think about it, it didn't really take away any features from Mario 1, it just innovated on it and tried to create something fresh and creative, and that's something you can appreciate. I gotta say too, the presentation in this game is absolutely amazing, and in my opinion, most NES games, if not all of them, don't hold up to today's standards, but I don't know, when looking at Super Mario Bros. 2, there's just something so colorful and charming about it that I don't actually mind looking at it. I think for an NES game, the game looks really pretty and I don't mind going back to play it. And don't get me wrong, by default the remakes are automatically better looking than the NES one, but when looking at the character sprites in the NES version, there's something about the character sprites that look very charming. Oh dude, and the music in this game is so god tier. The main overworld theme in this game is my favorite overworld theme in any Mario game. The song is so catchy and is one of those theme songs where you don't mind playing it on repeat, and I'd argue that this song is even more catchy than the Mario Land overworld theme. And for the underground theme, I don't know what type of black magic Koji Kondo was doing, but he somehow made a 10-second loop sound completely great. Like, when exploring a cave in this game, it barely feels like a repetitive loop. And that just goes to show how creative of a composer Koji Kondo is. And the same goes for the boss theme. That theme is also a 10-second loop, but it doesn't sound repetitive at all. It just feels like a normal theme, and every time I'm fighting a boss in this game, I'm fucking headbanging to a 10-second loop! Koji Kondo, you are crazy! So with the overall presentation of the game, all the new mechanics, all the new playable characters, Mario Bros. 2 really shaped up to be a huge innovator of the original formula. So in 1993, Nintendo released Super Mario All-Stars, which featured 4 remakes of Mario Bros., this version of Mario 2, the goated Super Mario Bros. 2, and then Super Mario Bros. 3. And all these remakes were just giving the games a facelift, giving them 16-bit graphics, higher quality songs, and yeah, these were pretty great remakes. So Mario 2 had a pretty nice facelift amongst all these other Mario games. And in 2001, that's like peak gaming right there. Not because I was born that year or anything. It's because we had goated consoles like the Game Boy Advance, the goated GameCube. We had my all-time GOAT Luigi's Mansion released that year, and Super Mario Bros. 2 got a full-on remake on the Game Boy Advance. The visuals in this version look far better than the SNES version. The music got a huge upgrade, and the whole presentation got upgraded with all the new voice lines for all the characters. The bosses got voice lines, even though Birdo's voice right here is a little weird.
This is as far as you go!
Hey, I'll accept it, because this whole remake is the perfect version of this game. And on top of that, this game got more Mario-ified. Like, all the levels got redone. Like, look at this little bouncy part right here. Look, we got big-ass turnips to throw at all these big-ass enemies. We got these new coin collectibles, and we got this Yoshi mode? Like, dude, this is amazing. Dude, they even added this cool little boss introduction music before the boss actually begins. I love that new addition. They made hearts easily accessible where there's a lot of them just floating everywhere now. They even added a brand new boss. It's like a robot Birdo. Like, this version of Mario Bros. 2 is objectively the best version of Mario 2. Like, yeah, I like going back to the NES version sometimes just for the novelty aspect of it because it looks kind of cute. But obviously the Game Boy Advance version is the definitive version. But after this point, Nintendo kinda stopped caring about this game. And I don't know if it's because the fans didn't care about it, or if Nintendo thought the game was too different, but it just seemed like since the game got remade, Mario Bros. 2 has not gotten much love, like, at all. Games like the first Mario Bros., Mario 3, and Mario Bros. Get referenced out the ass in almost every game, but it's very rare that Super Mario Bros. 2 gets any reference at all. So saying the very few times the game will get referenced, like, obviously I would get excited because I love Super Mario Bros. 2, but obviously there is still a huge elephant in the room because you kind of thought to yourself, well, this game doesn't get referenced often. Nah, for real, I could probably count on one hand the notable times this game has gotten referenced. There was that time where they brought back the turnip mechanic in the Mario Bros. 3 e-reader levels, which is really cool. I really wish Nintendo added the turnips back in Mario Bros. Wonder, because that game brought a lot of cool ideas back, added all these cool new original ideas to the franchise. But to not bring back the turnips is just a weird choice, and I wish they did, but whatever. It's cool to see it in the e-reader levels. It was really cool to see it as a stage in Super Smash Bros. Melee. As you can probably tell, that was my favorite stage in that game, and it didn't come back until Smash Ultimate. I don't know what took them so long, but again, it just goes to show how much they don't really care about Mario 2. Oh yeah, Wart was actually in Link's Awakening, which is pretty cool because Link's Awakening takes place in a dream, and so does Super Mario Bros. 2, so that kind of makes a lot of sense actually. And it was really cool to see that game get remade on Switch because you can see Wart as a 3D model for the first time, so that's pretty cool. One of the biggest callbacks was Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker having the turnips as the main mechanic. Dude, I really love the Captain Toad levels in 3D World, so I was really happy to see it becoming its own game, and to see that this game is also using the turnips as the main mechanic, it was fucking perfect. And yes, throwing turnips in this game is as satisfying as Mario Bros. 2. This game. I have so many mixed emotions with Super Mario Maker 2. While I'm happy to see this game get included in Mario Maker 2 and make levels based off of Mario Bros. 2, man, why wasn't this its own theme. And this topic alone can lead us to a whole rabbit hole. But to briefly explain it, Mario Maker 2 introduced the extra game styles. Style plural. Plural means more than one, and there's only one extra style. And they only made this section because Mario 3D World was different enough to be its own style, so it'd kind of be impossible to smoothly transition from one theme to that one. So they put it in its own category. Now you can kind of see what I'm getting at, right? Super Mario Bros. 2 is unique enough to be its own theme. And the fact that it was banished to the Super Mario Bros. 1 theme as an item is criminal! That is the biggest slap in the fucking face to Mario 2 fans! Oh wow, thanks. We can play Mario 2 mechanics as long as we have the item, but if we get hit, we lose it, and we go back to Mario Bros. 1 mechanics. We don't want that shit! We want its own theme. Dude, you know how Mario Bros. 1 didn't really have all these cool themes like the airship and the sky and the ghost house, and I got all these cool new theme songs made with it and tile sets? Dude, I wanted to see that with Mario 2! Dude, and collecting the mushroom literally changes everything about the Mario 1 theme. Not only do you have the core mechanic where you can jump on enemies and pick them up and throw them, you can rip snowballs out of the ground in the snow theme and use them as turnips. All the music gets changed to Mario 2 music. Dude, when you climb up a vine, it even makes that climbing sound from the original Mario 2. They added all this shit to the point where it could have been its own theme, but they kind of didn't. And I believe it's because they're trying to rush out this World Maker update, and this was going to be a part of it, but they didn't want to work on it any longer, so they just resulted in putting it into as an item. But the fact that they didn't think it was important enough to spend more time on it, it is a slap in our face. But I guess beggars can't be choosers. I guess any representation is good representation. Hey, I gotta get props where it's due though. They brought my boy Phantom back, and it's as menacing as ever. By the way, I did make a few Super Mario Bros. 2 style levels. Some of them are tricky, some of them are challenging, so if you want to play any of them, here are the level IDs. Yes, I'm plugging them because I'm proud of them, and barely anybody has played them on Curse World. And yeah, there are other games that reference this game, such as when they bring back the goated overworld theme like the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, which is pretty cool, don't get me wrong. But like I said, when it comes to notable references, I can only count it on one hand. 5? There's only 5 notable references? That is really bad. And like I said before, Mario 2 did so much for the Mario series. It gave Luigi his iconic moveset where he can jump higher than Mario, gave Peach her gliding moveset, gave Toad his really fast running moveset. It introduced all these Mario characters that became mainstays like Shy Guys, Ninjas, Pokies, Birdo, and yet it doesn't get as much love. Man, that's horseshit. Man, Nintendo, I'm preaching to you. Please! Give us more Mario 2 references. There's Mario 2 fans out there. There might be like 10 of us, but we're out there. Hopefully in the future we'll get much more. Hey, maybe if Mario Wonder gets a sequel, or whatever the next 2D Mario is, they'll bring back the turnip mechanic. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I'll always cherish Mario 2 and always go back to playing it. Dude, I even have a display statue of the game I found on Etsy. Like, this game is easily one of my favorite 2D Marios next to Mario Wonder. I'll forever cherish Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, as for the Japanese version of the game, all the good things I can say about the game is this.